What's up? What's up? What's up? Hello and welcome, Choom Gang. Welcome to another Choom session. My name is Sophia from Choom Cannabis. We also have Danielle and Caroline in the comment section taking care of you guys there, so make sure to say hello. But guys, I'm super excited because today we're going to be launching a new segment called Learning and Burning. And basically, this is where we invite some of our very own Choom Gang members with expert cannabis knowledge to help answer our questions and teach us all about our favorite plant, one topic at a time. And of course, we're going to be giving away some prizes, and all you have to do to enter is either just like this video, give us a reaction, a thumbs up, or you could answer a question that we're going to be asking you guys towards the end of this video. And that's it. You're going to be entered into a draw. So if you want a Choom hat or a Choom shirt, make sure to get your like in or answer a question. All right, guys. Now let's get to some learning. And I hope that you guys are getting to do some burning. And as you probably have guessed by the title of this video, today we're going to be talking about the Entourage Effect and why THC isn't the only thing that matters when you're choosing your cannabis. And this is really important, guys. And there's so many like crazy, amazing facts that you guys are going to learn today, and I'm super pumped about that. But basically, to help me with this topic, we have invited a very, very special guest. So please help me welcome our very own regional manager and cannabis educator queen, Hillary.
Hey,
Hillary!
thanks for such a nice introduction.
And thank you so much for joining us and being here. So I have to ask, like, the first thing that I like to make sure everybody knows. I need to know, like, how you yourself got into cannabis in the first place.
Yeah, so I love telling people how I got into cannabis because I hope that it inspires other people to want to get into the industry too. So originally I started in retail, but I've always consumed cannabis. I've used it for about a decade now. So I went from working with the Aldo Group to a store manager position with Clarity Cannabis. And I worked my way up with Clarity Cannabis to become a Southern Regional Manager. So I oversaw Southern Alberta for them. And then at that time, Choom actually acquired the Clarity Cannabis licenses in Alberta, and that's when I was brought on to the Choom team. So I was kind of part of that acquisition, and I worked my way up in Choom, and last March I got promoted, and now I oversee all of the Choom stores in Alberta. So super excited
Yeah,
to be
big
here.
congrats on that. Hillary is like an incredible leader. So I'm just, throwing that out there. I'm super pumped, and I'm like really excited that the Choom Gang actually gets to meet you face to face like this. That is great. All right. And then guys, just so that you know, like while we chat through this topic, just please feel free to ask questions in the comment section. And if we have time at the end, we will get to those and answer them. If we don't, we'll make sure to come back into the comments section afterwards, and then we'll continue the conversation there. But guys, let's figure out, okay, so why isn't THC the only thing that matters when you're choosing your cannabis, Hillary?
Yeah, so THC isn't everything, Sophia, because there is actually 545 compounds in cannabis, and that includes over 200 known terpenes, some totally unique to cannabis, over 100 known secondary cannabinoids besides just THC and CBD, 11 steroids, 30 flavonoids. All of that combined is why THC isn't everything in cannabis.
Oh my God. That just like blew my mind. So what are those like other factors basically that can affect our high? Because THC, for those of you that don't know, is that psychoactive part of weed that gives you that high feeling. But apparently there are other things.
Yeah, absolutely. So THC is just one of the cannabinoids. CBD is the other really well-known one. But beyond those two, the main things that affect our high are terpenes. So terpenes are basically aromas that the plant exhibits. Naturally, it does this to keep pests away or attract pollinators. But for us, when we consume the plant, it actually affects our high. And then the other big one that really affects our high are secondary cannabinoids. So these are just cannabinoids besides THC and CBD, like CBG, for example. example, that makes us notoriously relaxed in the evening. We're starting to see CBG shots on the legal market, which is awesome. And THCV is really cool too. That's another neat secondary cannabinoid that actually is used medically to reduce appetite. So those are some of the main factors that are going to affect our high outside of just THC or CBD.
Oh, that's fantastic. And so the difference between like cannabinoids and terpenes, what would be that main difference?
Yeah, so the best way to describe it is cannabinoids are basically like the plane, and terpenes are kind of like the wings of the plane. So they're basically going to steer which direction your high is going. But THC and CBD ultimately are going to tell you, are you going to get high, or are you just going to have a really nice, relaxed, content feeling with the CBD, right? Another analogy that I like to use is that THC and CBD, they're kind of like the ship, and the terpenes are like the rudder on the ships. Basically, they steer the high. The biggest difference is that cannabinoids are what are responsible for actually getting us high, while terpenes are what's responsible for kind of driving the direction of that high.
Totally awesome. Okay, I love how you summarize that. And so then getting into what the entourage effect is, yeah, how would you describe that?
Yeah, so the entourage effect is basically how cannabinoids interact with terpenes, and how those terpenes or those aromas basically drive our high. You might hear us say this if you come to Choom, you shop at Choom, we'll say, oh, it's only at 17% terpenes, or sorry, THC, but the terpenes are really going to make you feel like it's like a 20% strain. That's because the terpenes basically make it at a biological level, without getting too medical, they basically make it easier for our cellular receptors to have the THC and the CBD flow through our systems, and they affect how quickly or slowly that's going to hit us, and what other chemicals our brain is going to release alongside those. So it's pretty scientific, but that would be like the basic interaction, why the entourage effect works. It's how those terpenes interact with THC and CBD to increase the effects that we're feeling, whether it's making us feel maybe a little more uplifted, maybe a little more relaxed. That's all going to depend on which terpene is interacting with the THC and the CBD.
That's crazy. That's awesome. Okay. And so when we're talking about terpenes in cannabis, how many terpenes are there in cannabis? Like you're saying that there's like hundreds of them, right? But
There is
there's some like really common ones though that we can find.
Yeah, you got it. So it's cannabis. It does produce over 200 unique terpenes that we know of, and we're actually discovering new ones all the time, which is so cool. I know, just
Really?
keep blowing your mind today. But some of the most common ones that we see are myrcene. This one is found in a lot of different cannabis strains. Myrcene is basically, it smells like mangoes. It's very earthy. It's responsible for super relaxed feelings in a high. Another really common terpene is limonene. So limonene is going to be responsible for those like citrusy smells. Like if you ever open up a package and you're like, oh, it smells like lemons or
Oh
grapefruit.
yeah, I love that. I love
Limonene.
that.
So flavorful, right?
Mhm.
Limonene, really uplifting, and just like citruses in general, right? Super energizing. That's another very common terpene for sure. Some of my other favorite ones are linalool. So linalool kind of even sounds like lavender. That's what it's derived from. It's very floral. It's super relaxing and sedating. And probably one of the other common ones that I definitely would have to mention. I would say pinene, pick me up pinene. It's super focusing. You become super alert, and this is one of my favorite strains to have. Anything with pinene, if I'm going to be sitting down doing a little bit of video gaming, because I love to relax, do some gaming, and that just like keeps me focused without feeling like I'm going to fall asleep.
Yeah, that's the important one if you're actually doing something.
Exactly.
Well, that's great. So, is there kind of like a direct link between for comparing things, like is a terpene almost like an essential oil, like how essential oils kind of are like affect your mood, right? Like so,
Yep.
you go into like walk into a stage or something and they've got like one for relaxation and they have one that's energizing. So usually that would have like orange or lemon in it, where the more relaxing one would be like lavender. So is it similar to that, like how it affects us, like based off of the terpenes?
You got it. So this is the same kind of interaction where when our body is smelling or tasting those kind of terpenes, we exhibit those reactions. Like, you're smelling that lavender, you're going to feel relaxed, right? And a good example of this is there's the terpene humulene. So humulene actually smells like hops, which is funny because hops is actually a cousin to cannabis. Humulene is actually responsible for not giving us the munchies. So basically how it works is, we smell and we taste that humulene in the cannabis that we're consuming. And then it actually triggers our brain's response to be like, hey, we're not feeling too hungry today. So it actually limits how hungry we get. So that's just like a testament to the power of terpenes, right? Is that they can either make us munch out like myrcene or not give us the munchies like the humulene.
Oh, I love that. Okay, awesome. And so, okay, are there any examples of products that you've been loving with some of the like with these great terpene profiles? And what does a great terpene profile even look like? Like, what is a percentage range? Like, how do we know that that is a good terpene profile?
That's a really good question. So, generally, anything that's going to be 3% or more terpenes is considered to be some dank bud.
Yeah.
We can see expressions of up to 8% terpenes, and there's been talk of seeing some even higher than that, but 8% is probably about the highest we've seen on the Canadian legal market so far. So, anything
Wow.
with, 3% or more is pretty good. There's definitely some things that I'm super excited to show you guys today. So, one of them is the black market alien cinnamon cookies. And it's really
That
cool because,
sounds amazing.
oh yeah, it like just sounds like it's gonna get you messed up, and it will for sure. So this package is really cool because they actually print the terpene content on the back, and it's 2.22% terpenes total. So it is quite fragrant when you open it up and give it a smell. And this is what the buds look like. It's got 1% myrcene in it, 0.34% limonene, a little bit of caryophyllene. Caryophyllene is pretty balancing. So overall, when you smoke this, it's really relaxing, but still a nice focused, like energetic high. So you still feel like you could do something, right? So that's
Amazing.
definitely one of the ones I've been enjoying lately. And then I've got to give a shout out to the Boaz too. We've got some great products from Boaz. I picked this all up at Choom, by the way. The Boaz Dank Rainbow, another great producer that's actually listing terpenes on the package. These guys are 2.11% terpenes. So same thing, you open up this package, you can just smell the terpenes in it. And this one has got caryophyllene, myrcene, ceridine, and limonene in it. And so overall, it smells very earthy and very like piney. Kind of smells like a forest almost, like fresh forest after it's
Oh,
so
see,
like
this is where we really need smell-o-vision on
I
these
know.
sessions. Ah, that looks amazing.
Yeah, and one other one that I have to mention too is the Natural Histories pre-rolls. So if you're looking to try something that's really unique for a terpene profile, you have to check out Natural History because they actually have a coloring on their packages here where they list what terpenes they have. So this particular pre-roll, so cool.
Yeah.
These guys, they've got myrcene, alpha beta pinene, and delta 9 carine, and you can actually taste them too if you want before you smoke it. Just giving it a dry haul basically is just putting the pre-roll in your mouth and giving it a little puff. This is going to help you sample that terpene profile before you actually consume it.
I love that. I love that tip because
Yeah,
you really do get that profile because like you smoke weed and you're burning something and you can't if you have a very trained nose or palate or aroma you can pick out certain things, but I feel like for me anyway it's hard for me to distinguish, so I really loved that tip where you do that dry haul because you really do get that fresh terpene profile. No, that's
absolutely. What about
awesome.
you? Have you been liking anything, Sophia? Anyone in our
Oh,
audience? Like, what are you guys liking? What kind of terpenes have you guys been smelling?
honestly, so I was just we talking about. So I got the Boaz here as well, and based off of Hillary's recommendation, and I went in for with the Green Kraken, and I smoked it all before before this show. It was so good. Like I absolutely loved that one so much.
Yeah, there's so many unique terpene profiles. So sometimes I don't go out to try something high THC. I literally show up and I'm like, hey, what scents am I looking for? Like, what haven't I like sampled for a scent before, right? So sometimes I'll shop for THC, but a lot of times nowadays I find myself actually shopping for what scents I like, what terpenes I'm looking for.
Totally. It's just it really does create this like I don't know, other level of experience, I think. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
it's very personalized for sure.
And so, okay, so in your opinion, Hillary, what are some good examples of strains for people looking for, say, like either a daytime, more energetic, or like social high versus like that nighttime, ready for bed high?
Ooh, I definitely have some good recommendations for sure. So if you're looking for something that's like more a daytime high, I would recommend the Tangerine Dream from San Rafael. It's a little bit lighter in THC, which is great because you can actually get things done. But just big, beautiful purple buds on this guy, and it
Yeah.
absolutely open it up, and it smells just like tangerines. So if you're looking to try something different, this is a really, really unique strain that you can really, really smell and taste the myrcene. And there's also guaiol, which is a really unique terpene, and alpha beta pinene in this one. So it's a very uplifting strain overall, really good for the daytime if you've got to get stuff done. For the evening, I would recommend the Porkle from Greenade. This is another newer producer in the market. I've actually grown on the
Okay,
island.
it's on the
Yeah,
island. Yep.
and also printing terpenes, right? So again, super great to see people are printing terpenes. These ones are on the back of the package. Limonene, linalool, caryophyllene, and pinene. This one is really great if you're looking to just kind of relax a little bit before bed, and then you just want to be right out afterwards. Another
Yeah,
good
that
tip.
guy that guy was a heavy hitter. I tried the
Yeah,
pre-rolls of that and I was like conked out for the night.
absolutely. So I've got the Porkle here, and I'm going to give it a good grind too, because if you're really looking to smell the terpenes, it's best to give it a grind and then smell it, because you'll actually break up the trichomes, and the trichomes are where the terpenes are housed. So you're breaking them apart, and you're going to find it gets a better scent. And I love my rose gold chum
Oh,
grad.
I love it. The pink one's so beautiful.
So after we give it a good grind, you can give it a smell. And it really smells different than just the bud. So that's a great way to see, a true representation of the terpene profile.
Nice. I love that. Okay, it looks like we are getting some questions from the audience. And I say that we go in and answer a couple of these here. Okay, we've got a question where it's what is the difference between terpenoid and terpene? Is there a difference there?
This can be a tough one to answer without getting too medical. But the difference is basically on a biological level. Terpenoid versus terpene. Terpenoid is a more complicated chemical, which is going to break down a little less quickly in your body versus a terpene. Basically, there's just more carbon molecules on a terpenoid. Terpenoid's not a huge difference between terpene and terpenoid. Is basically it's going to be on a chemical level. Without getting too medically into it, because they do actually influence things on our CB1 and CB2 receptors. But, just being recreational, not a medical professional, I don't really want to get too into that.
Okay, cool. And okay, guys, so I do have a question for the Choom Gang, and this is going to count towards our prizes. So if you answer this question, you're going to be entered in the draw. So which terpene are you most interested in trying next? And if you don't know the name of the terpene, that's fine. What effect do you want to go for next? And then we have a few more questions from the audience. That's awesome. Choom Gang, you guys are on fire today. How do terpenes develop in the trichome? That's a good
That,
question.
that's a really good question.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I'm not a master grower, so I actually don't know the answer to that. Trichomes, though, what they are, basically, to give a little more of an explanation behind that, is there were the THC and the CBD, the cannabinoids and the terpenes, and any kind of secondary cannabinoids are housed. And the trichomes, they're shaped like a little mushroom. We basically say that that's where the magic happens, right? So they grow on the outside of the bud and on an individual bract or calyx. That's what makes up the bud we're smoking. The trichome grows on the outside there, and then it is basically a resinous gland. So the aroma or the scent, which is essentially, like an essential oil, is absorbed up basically and grows into that trichome. But how does that happen on a biological level? I'm actually not sure.
Yeah, and trichomes are so tiny. Like you really have to go in like super, super microscopic to even see that. That's amazing. Great questions, guys. Yeah, keep on asking us questions. And I mean, basically, right now we are actually kind of coming towards the end of our session, which is crazy. It goes by so quick. Like, I just want to keep learning more and more about terpenes. But like, is there like a specific fact, Hillary, that like really blows your mind about terpenes?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I mean, honestly, just the fact that they can make up 8% of a bud's total weight. So we're literally saying that 8% of a bud's weight can be an aroma or a smell. That blows my mind, to be honest, because like we're actually saying
Yeah.
that we can measure a smell. I just think that's so weird. So definitely the fact that just 8% of a bud's total weight can be accounted to terpene content. I think that's really cool.
That is really, really cool. And this, I don't know, for me, like this has been amazing just because like terpenes isn't something that people really know that much about. Like unless you're like really in the industry, like the regular person walking down the street is just kind of like weed smells like weed. It just is what it is. It does what it is. And people are very much like in that, maybe if they have a little bit more knowledge, they'll think, okay, sativa, energetic, indica, couch, right? But that really doesn't I don't know, it doesn't really hold true when you're talking about terpenes and the entourage profile in the whole. That's
Yeah,
just
totally.
that's
You know,
what
I think when it
blows
comes
my
to
mind.
like no, exactly. You know, we've all smoked a sativa that's put us to sleep or an indica that's kept us up for hours, right? I think, the future of cannabis is talking about terpenes and finding terpene profiles that we like. And I always tell people, people are like, how do I pick which terpenes? Well, the nose knows. So if you smell something and you like it and you like that smell, try to find weed that smells like that. It's like, I love fruity smells. Like, I love fruit. I could eat it all day, snack on fruit all
Yeah.
the time. So I naturally just love Tangerine Dream, and I always have a fantastic high when I smoke it because the nose knows my body's like, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's what you like. That's awesome. I know I'm looking at my little tray here and I've got, like Mandarin cookies, I've got fruit cake, I have yeah, pink kush sour apples. So it's all very like fruity and citrusy. And that's kind of what I gravitate to as well. That's awesome. All right, guys. Well, Tune Gang, we have made it to the end of our session. Yeah, make sure to keep asking us questions if you still have those. We'll check the comment section and kind of continue that conversation with you there. But Tune Gang, thank you so much for watching and asking these great questions. And then, Hillary, thank you so much for being here and dropping this knowledge on us. Like, I really, really want to continue on talking about terpenes and hope to have you back at some point. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, I would love to come back. Thanks so much for having me, Sophia. I feel so stoked to get to talk to all the Tune Gang today. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody. Until the next one, we'll see you later.
Okay, bye.